not the end of the day yet, but I'm just trying to find a time where I can very easily reflect the day, unpack all that shit in a way that works. Yeah, so I'm experimenting with a few things without having to, I'm trying to avoid, blue light and too much, screen time before bed. And what I was doing before was I was doing this before going to bed, and then obviously like there's a lot of active recall, blue light right there, the whole lot, and so I was taking ages to go to sleep. And I'm trying to avoid that. I've been putting my phone on charge out in the living room, all these things, and so I'm like, obviously there's a fair few hours we haven't had dinner yet with the kids and stuff, but I figure, yeah, and like I was saying in a few other episodes earlier, is that I was trying to do it in the mornings, and I wasn't able to get it, just wasn't happening. So I was like, well, you know what, I'm just gonna can that. So I'm still just trying to find an appropriate time where I'm not just like bailing on all the housework at the end of the day with Beck, where I'm able to be present with the kids and all that sort of shit too. So anyway, I'm taking the opportunity to just get it done now. The So part of the whole like health change and everything else is getting a poo a poo sample. uh, when I got my vasectomy done, I went and got my bloods done as well, and the only thing that came up was that my kidneys like weren't processing protein properly or something. Now saying that that's pretty indicative if you've got indicative of three things. One, if you're obese. I mean, I'm 20 kilo over. I can't imagine that's not obese, but if you've got diabetes, or it's early sign of kidney issues. So we'll see what happens. I got another piss test in a few weeks, but also part of it was getting a gut microbiome test done. So Kayla, one of the local naturopaths, got in touch with her. We waited a couple of weeks until Beck was able to get her bloods done, and and then we went to go do the poo sample, and we have to get it done only on a Monday or Tuesday, and I just didn't get the timing right and everything else. So anyway, I sent mine off earlier today. I did mine first thing this morning, so I woke up half hour earlier, just so I could take my time and read the instructions, because it's super particular what you got to do. Yeah. So anyway, so I did that. Got to get like three samples, man. It was like a little like earbud sort of thing, and then there's a like one that you actually dip into your shit, and it's like it's got like a spiral. Like, it's nasty. Hey, there's like poo sample cup with like a scooper inside in the lid. You gotta like scoop up your shit, and I didn't have enough when I shat. It was a first thing in the morning, small shit. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, so I scooped it up, and I'm looking at the cup, and I'm like, I think I need some more in that, because it was saying that you make sure you've got. And I was like, so I sat back on the toilet and shat again. But they give you this thing where you put it on the toilet. It's like adhesive, and it sits on the seat. And it's this paper that kind of goes in there, and you just shit in the middle. It's so funny. So you still piss into the toilet, but yeah, it's hilarious. So anyway, so that was funny. Maybe it's not hilarious. Maybe I'm just a child. Anyway, so did that. Went to hit the gym this morning, and man, I'm starting to feel my stride. Hey, so this is week 3, and I teed up with Sean, my boy, Sean Smith. We're headed over to Brisbane end of this month for a like a seminar workshop thing. It's like a 3-day intensive, and it's intensive. Like, they're big. For those that are familiar with Kerwin Ray, you'll know Nail It, Scale It. So that's what we're headed over for, and it's gonna be really good. I'm really enjoying Beck, because obviously Beck's really involved with the our product offering and all these sorts of things. So it's really cool to see that Beck is keen to get understand the bigger business sides of things, which is really cool and really, really valuable. Obviously, she's got such a great skill set. So so that's cool. So headed over for that. And when I get back, I'm going to start training with Sean at Snap, and that's going to be cool. Beck's going to keep going with F45, but man, I'm really looking forward to getting back into the gym. How I'm familiar with it. Okay, cool. Sorry. I'm just going to put my phone in airplane mode. Yeah, so anyway, but one thing I have been doing is a third week in, and I'm finding my stamina starting to kick in, and I'm just starting to be able to dial it in really easy during the workouts. So it's been really cool, and just getting the rhythm. Hey, like there were a few times today where it was hard, and I'm picking heavier weights and sticking to it, like seeing the set out rather than getting to a point where I'm having to drop weight to finish the set and stuff. So that's been really cool. And today was hard, but fuck, it felt good. Really enjoyed that. I came home, swapped with Beck, and I hit a wall. Hey, the other thing as well is like I chunder like an absolute champion when I'm pushing myself at the gym, and I could feel it coming. So I just like at last set, I just kind of dialed it back a little bit, so I didn't end up like throwing my guts up. And but I did come. Wow, I did not come. I came home. I was going to say, I did come back home. And then I realised that the right word to use in that instance was actually came. I came back home. So fucking hell. Oh. Anyway, so I came back home. And I was spent. I think just the last couple of days, just with my head all over the joint and just being a miserable shit. That it's just like, man, like I think it's just taken, I don't know, taken a toll. Maybe I just sound like a bitch, but anyway, so I was pretty knack. Actually, last night was a shit show. Tilly came in the middle of the night a couple times, saying that her bum was hurting, and turns out she's got worms. So gave us some Nurofen and gave her some worming tablets and stuff like that. So, between Sterling and Tilly, it was a bit of a dog's brekkie last night. So I was pretty rooted. So I jumped back in bed and my wife, gosh, she's so good to me. Hey, I saw when I heard her come back home, and I was like, oh, she'll wake me up when the time's right, and I put Sterling back to sleep and everything else, and I saw her. She was in our room, just kind of getting it. I think she must have been getting changed or something. And I didn't wake up again until 7:00. And far out, it was needed. It felt so good. So I got up, had a shower. She made some coffee and brekkie, and and then I kind of find Monday's a bit of a catch up day, like catch up on the weekend and all that sort of stuff. So I spent this morning there was an incident at work. Nothing major. Well, no, it is major. It's not like it's nothing to be neglected. It absolutely needs to be addressed, but it's just around, I guess, team doing what they say they're going to do. Yeah, and specifically one of our guys coming away from that feeling pretty underappreciated and stuff. So, yeah, so that was the thing. Hang on. No, cool. So yeah, so that did that, and then just caught up on all the stuff over the weekend and started prepping for our team meeting tomorrow. Obviously, with open book management stuff coming in, there's a fair bit to get on top of, and one of the things I'm very aware of right now is that there's a lot to before we kind of start building forward more. There's a lot of loose ends we need to tie off, and that kind of became pretty apparent today. And this kind of goes back in the whole thing is like, following through, like, sure, like I'm following through on things that I say I'm doing now. Like if I commit to them now, like sure, but then realizing that, there's shit that I started developing and working on in the business over there, be it like, just systems and processes and that, and they're kind of finished, but not quite. So finishing that, I get like my self-criticism around leadership and stuff. Like, yeah, for sure. Like there's areas where I need to develop as well. So, God, I'm thinking one thing and saying another. Anyway, whatever. I'm just going to park that and move on. No, because that's the problem. What I was meaning was there's all these areas that I need to finish developing. and implementing. And I'm also aware that it's like, okay, I don't just want to like build these systems, and this has been my frustration with propaganda for the most part, is that like I've built these systems time and time and time again, and you learn about this, you learn about that, you learn about like all these different facets of whether it be like inventory management or quality control or whatever it is. And it's like, okay, cool, like so like I do a bit of a dive into that, yeah, sweet, 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 like run the team through it and everything else, and then it's just like it just doesn't happen. I'm just going, fuck, like what am I missing here? Like, do I just have to be a prick? Do I have to just fucking keep on top of them and until the penny drops? Is that it? Like, but then my experience of being on the receiving end of that is that I just fucking hate when people ride me all the time. And all it does is just, in my experience, just build resentment and frustration. Like, so then it's like, okay, well, is that the right approach? Don't know. Or it's like empowerment, alignment, rah, rah, rah. And I'm like, that seems to be the right thing. You read about like Tony Hsieh and shit, how like builds these massive organizations, and even Branson, like you like all these people that play at that level, and I'm going, like, are they the unicorns, or is that how shit should be done? Anyway, I don't know. I'm working on it. Gang. Organised a meeting. A mate of ours, he's implementing open book management and following the great game business philosophy, meeting up with this lady Sue as well. So it's been really, really good having someone along the journey also. Far more experience in business, way further down the journey than us. And, sorry. So it's been really cool to see someone who's further down the track also going down the process of implementing this, and having someone shoulder to shoulder who's doing that. Like, that's been really cool. So so I went and caught up with him and we're just like, okay, like how'd you, because officially opened it to the team, was like, how'd you go, what's going on, how are you going next, rah rah rah, and then I've been speaking with him around like the internal shit that I've been dealing with in the last couple of days, and he's just said to us, he's just like, man, you got to stop being so like so hard on yourself. And I was like, I don't feel like I'm being hard on myself. Like, it seems like everybody else just gets to be able to like has got it fucking sorted, and maybe it's just an illusion. God, maybe it is. Maybe it's just a fucking massive prank that everyone pulls on each other. Like, maybe that's a thing. And I'll be honest, it's pretty embarrassing to get on here and share all this shit. And yeah, sure, it's my choice. I'm totally conscious of that. I'm not like, no, look at everyone else, like I'm being exposed. Like, no, I get it. Like, it's my decision, and I'm not whinging about that. Because the thing is, I want to document the process. I want to be able to look back on this and just be like, wow, imagine being in that position still, Billy. That's hilarious. I can't wait in 4 or 5 years or something to go like, oh wow, look at that episode and watch that and just be like, oh my god, as if that was an issue I was dealing with right now. Because no doubt in hindsight, I'm going to look back and think it's hilarious. But I don't feel like I'm being hard on myself. But and this is the point that we kind of got to, is just like, if you look at someone who's in an abusive relationship and they think that it's love, and you go, dude, that's not love. That is not love. Then maybe it's the same thing. Maybe I am overcritical, and I don't feel like I am. But what else do I have to measure against? I don't know. Like, and so maybe I should just suspend my shit and kind of look at it from someone else's perspective. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. No, I do, and it's such a cop out. I hate saying I don't know, because it's just like, I remember another bloke I look up to in business. I was catching up with him probably about 12 months ago, and maybe longer actually. And he was asking us a few really pointed questions, and were really good, like really good value. And I said, I don't know. And he's just like, how I interpret I don't know is you saying, fuck you, I don't want to tell you the answer. Because there's always something that comes to mind, right? Or if you sit with it long enough, then it comes to mind. And I don't know is a cop out. And I was like, okay. So I'm really, and the truth is, he's right as well, because every time that I've stuck with it, an answer comes. So, yeah. Maybe. Here's what I've learned about frustration. Frustration is the rocket fuel to cross the chasm between where you are and where you want to be. And frustration's really good. Channeled appropriately, frustration is really, really good. And perhaps I'm feeling so frustrated right now. That's why I'm thinking about this. Is it internal? It's always internal. What I'm thinking is this. There's certainly... There's parts of the... I mean, my frustrations, for the most part, are in the business. And then... And I sound like a whinging bitch for this because I love my team, right? So that's not the case. What I feel is like I develop these things and I go, okay, well, like, let's, like we get good equipment, we get, and then it's not used properly. I take the time to train people and it's just, then the process aren't followed. And I'm trying not to be a cunt, right? I'm trying to like not just drop the hammer on people and just operate like a tyrant. And I think, how am I the problem in this? Like, where am I dropping the ball? Because like it always has to come back to self. I can't wait to look back on this. Even in like 12 months' time, I know I'm going to look back on this and just be like, wow, it's so obvious to me now. And in the meantime, I just clench my teeth and try the next thing. I don't even have to clench my teeth. Shut up, Billy. I can just do the next thing. I'm running an experiment. Currently a 4-year experiment. Darty. Anyway, so it was a good conversation with him. Yeah, I get a lot of value out of our time together. And he's a lot further along in the business journey than we are. And it's really great to have someone who thinks similarly. Like, obviously, we still have different values in some respects, yeah. But to think similarly in those areas as well. So, yeah. Came back, posted my poo sample, sent that back over to those guys. So I'm looking forward to seeing those results. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but the whole intention is to get a full snapshot of where our, both Beck and my body is at the moment. So that's cool. Reviewed and sorted some of the transactions in our personal finances. Just making sure, we're on track and all that sort of shit, and my spendings are all right. And yeah, started to just get some ducks lined up for a second location. So we're looking early September. There's a few things we need to sort out between now and then. So just starting to get the wheels turning in that, because no doubt it's going to come along real fast. Yeah, and then started to just prepare and aggregate all the information and the data for the team meeting. So we put some, when we had our all hands meeting weekend before, we identified as a team the areas that we need to improve on, and I wholeheartedly agree. Everybody knows the same shit, so bang, correct. Then we put a survey out to our customers. Our customers said there was actually a little bit more insight from the customers, which was really, really good. And I agree. And I see that there's a few specific things that are causing the gripes from the customer's side, which is, in my opinion, very easily solvable. However, I am also waiting for professional advice before I take action on them. And for those who know what I mean, you probably can read between the lines. So that was really cool. And then also looking at some quality control systems that we've got in place and looking at the data that captures, which has been cool. And then also reviewing our Google analysis in between, just timing of Google ratings and how things have been tracking over the last few months. So yeah, so you started kind of getting everything together for that and aggregating all this information to be able to take to the team and just show them, where things are at. So yeah, so then Beck, she's I love this woman so much. She's so good. Yeah, she is a bloody good woman, hey. So she went and picked up the kids from school, and they'll be home in 15 minutes. Took them out after she picked up Lex from school. Took them out geocaching. So they've got that geocache app, and they go and find these like little treasures around, and document it, and it's really cool. It's really cool. Just so I could have time to finish off some other work, which was really, really valuable. Being that that's one of my frustrations, I just can't get a clean run, so yeah. And this is the other thing is like, I go, yeah, sure, the solution is, okay, Billy, stop bitching about it and go, rent an office. All right, well, the problem with that is that we're running a pretty lean budget at the moment, because we are spending a fair bit of money on development at the minute. So yeah, gang. Yeah. I think my strategy going forward is that I just want to suspend my judgment on myself and shit, and just focus on the next thing. Focus on the next thing I have to do until I build a stack of undeniable proof. And this is one of the things that Alex Hormozy talks about. Maybe I just spend too much time trying to learn. Maybe I just need to do more. Just fucking do as much as possible. But at the same time, I know I do a lot. Like I'm fucking, whatever. Who cares? No, not who cares. I mean, I'm forever learning. I read regularly, I listen regularly, and I'm conscious that, like, knowledge is useless. Wisdom is knowledge applied. And I remember at my birthday that everyone was like, what do you want? I was like, I just want to have a few hours at the start of my birthday just to myself and just spend time with myself. And I did that, and it was amazing. And we were in Hopetown at the time because we were going away for Christmas as a family. And I went down to the beach, and I was in the water, and I was watching the sunrise on my birthday. And I sat there, and I'm not big on like, okay, what's the theme of the year and shit. And I was thinking, I was like, okay, like what do I want this year to be about? And this word just popped in my head, wisdom. And I was like, no, that's a bit fucking egotistical, don't you reckon? And when I started thinking around it, and call it God, call it the universe, whatever, but I just, when shit just like drops in your head, like bang, straight away. And to me, wisdom is knowledge applied. And so straight away I knew exactly what that meant. And I was like, okay, this year is about using the knowledge that I've gained, not just continue to accumulate knowledge. And I've got like 200 books in my Audible library. I've got like those books right there. I've got 2 more shelves just up here, and I've read the vast. Actually, you know what? I actually have read them. Yeah. I've actually read the majority of these books. Yeah, I've read the majority of these books. There's a handful there that I'm looking at. I'm like, no, I need to read them. And for the most part, like, and yes, it has definitely helped. It is definitely like each book I read, it just kind of Okay, expands my mind a little bit. Okay, learn that. Change the perspective a little bit. And I'm getting closer and closer and closer and closer and closer. And then it's like, okay, but put it into practice. Yeah, I am. Like, I read about this shit around open book management, and now I'm doing it. I read about systemization and okay, I'm learning about how systems work. Okay, great. Like, and I start implementing that. I start, learning about identifying when I'm shaming myself and shit, and then okay, start pulling myself out of that spiral or whatever. Communication, like, yeah, like I'm putting it into place, but I just feel like I don't know, whatever. I'm feeling very much like fuck it and just focus and do it, and that's kind of how I'm feeling. I mean, I'm feeling pretty agitated. And at the same time, I'm like with the agitation, it's that it's good. Agitation is action. No, agitation is not action. Sorry. That's I'm thinking one thing and saying another. Like frustration, provided it's pointed in the right direction, can be rocket fuel to make shit happen, and that's kind of where I'm feeling like it's at. Yep. Anyway, one of the things I did today, which is quite cool, I put my phone in grayscale mode, so you can see there. So there's no colours. Feels nice. I think that's about it. Hey, like I don't really have anything else to bring up. Yeah, gang. See you guys tomorrow.